The VP of Campbell's Soup was caught on a recording saying that he would never eat Campbell's Soup. He said that it was bioengineered meat. He said that it was made on a 3D printer and that it was poor people food, and he would never feed that to his family. And he was cursing all in the conversation. He seemed very passionate, and I believe him because he sees how that meat is made. He's been through factories. He's probably, went on little tours, and he won't even eat that food. And I just have to make it political. I have to make it political for two reasons. For one, a lot of people voted for Donald Trump because he's a businessman, and he will be great for the country because he is a businessman, even though a lot of his businesses failed, but that's beside the point. But do you see what happens when you run a business? Businesses don't care about people. They care about profit. So Campbell's Soup is over here feeding people, dog food, and they don't care. The people who work up top would not even eat that food themselves, but they're feeding it to other people because they don't care about people. And so when you run stuff like a business, it's profit only. And that's why we see what's happening in our government now, where people are losing their health insurance, their food stamps, and all the aid, the subsidies. Because when you run something like a business, it's about saving money. It's about profit. It's about making money. And then I also have to bring up the conversation about food stamps, because you always see people mad about people who have food stamps. Oh, I saw somebody paying for steak with food stamps. I saw somebody buying crab legs with food stamps. They're always mad because they're getting quality, fresh meat. And the alternative is to eat dog food. Campbell's, like poor people food. Like, shout out to food stamps to make sure that we don't have to eat, bioengineered meat that the own producers would not eat themselves. Like, there is definitely a problem in this country.
Campbell's products barely anymore. So healthy. Now that I know what the in it. Even in a can of soup, I look at it, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer.
Oh, hey, Martin, when Campbell's Soup said just add hot water, I don't think this is what they meant. So the recording that you just heard was allegedly made by this guy, Martin Bally, who is the Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer at Campbell's Soup. He was also allegedly caught saying things like Campbell's Soup is for poor people, and then making racist and disparaging remarks against Indian employees. Like, this is Campbell's Soup. Campbell's Soup is supposed to be one of those like wholesome American companies, something that you buy, when your kids are at home sick. But instead, one of their executives is caught allegedly talking shit about the products, talking shit about the customers, talking shit about the employees. Comfort food, not so much, I guess. And the reason we know any of this information is because of this guy, Robert Garza, who said that he was having a meeting with this guy, and he went on this like hour-long rant about how shit the company is and how he hates basically their customers and their employees. So he reports it. He says, hey, this is happening with this guy, Martin Bally. And like 3 weeks later, he gets fired with no write-ups, no nothing. They're just like, yeah, you gotta go. He's like, fuck you guys, I'm gonna file a lawsuit. And that's exactly what he did. And granted, this guy is in securities. He's not in recipe development or like food science or anything like that. But I don't know, for me, if an executive is speaking this way about the company they work for, it makes me very wary. It makes me very cautious and rethink, possibly buying products made by the company. But I guess we'll see how the lawsuit and, the investigation goes.
So the vice president of Campbell was caught saying the quiet word out loud. He literally says that the meat that they put in those containers, he cannot eat it. It is for poor people. Imagine you as the owner of a company saying such words. So Americans are literally wondering and crashing out right now because they are like, what have we been eating all along? Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sumi. Just in case you're seeing me for the very first time, I hope you do consider subscribing on the channel. Tap on that bell so that every time I upload anything on here, you're always notified. And to all my returning subscribers, you guys, please, thank you so very much for the love and support. And there are people who actually subscribed on the channel, but they keep on telling me that I think they were like YouTube unsubscribed them. So please make sure that you have really subscribed. And one thing I'm going to request you, please go ahead and share these videos to as many people as possible. So without even wasting time, guys, as I was scrolling on TikTok today, I landed on these videos from Americans literally crashing out because of the linked audio that was released. I think one of the employees recorded their boss, the vice president of Campbell, saying the quiet words out loud, literally cursing, furious. He's like, he cannot eat that food. Mind you, this is the same meat or food that is being processed by his own company. So if you yourself, you can't eat the same food that you are literally giving to people, then what are you giving the people? You're saying it's for the poor people. Is he trying to poison people or to kill people? Americans right now are crashing out, and let us play these videos, guys. Let me know what you think down in the commentary. I'm going to come back at the end of this video and say something.
The CEO of Campbell's Soup said, we sitting here eating bioengineered meat that the chicken came from a printer, like it's printed chicken. And then he said, that shit is for poor people. You will never catch me eating that shit. That's for you broke niggas. What timeline are we in, bruh?
I mean, to the CEO, F him, because he was wrong. What he said, he was wrong. You are willingly, knowingly feeding people junk. But we also have to admit, as consumers, that we don't read, or we do read and we don't care. Bioengineered food contains bioengineered food. So yes, forget the CEO, but are we going to boycott everybody? Because there's a bigger issue here, and it's not just with Campbell's. It's with what we put in our body and what the system, and by system, I mean the government, allows to be manufactured in masses. I know y'all didn't think those little cubes of meat was just perfectly cut and sliced because it's fresh. No. For thousands and thousands and thousands upon cans? We knew that. We just didn't want to know that. There's always something going on behind the scenes that we don't get to see. It's always been in our face. We just don't know.
I don't think companies are required to disclose if they use fake meat. So realistically, people don't know how much fake meat they're actually consuming. I would assume that the meat in the store is real meat, but outside of that, I don't really know. Like fast food, restaurant, you don't know. And I don't think that they're actually required to disclose that, because we just had the Campbell's Soup VP literally say that there was fake meat 3D printed inside of the soup, but that wasn't disclosed to anybody. You know what I mean? So I don't think they have to actually disclose when there's fake meat inside of their food. I don't think that's something that they have to do. And that's actually really crazy. But also, it's a way for them to cut costs and make more profit. And since they don't have to disclose it to anybody, obviously they're not going to if they don't have to. But that honestly should show people that, like, there's probably a lot more fake meat being used than people are even aware of. And the consumption of 3D printed meat is probably a lot more than people would just think. You know what I mean? Because clearly there's no rule that says that they have to disclose that this is 3D printed meat, which there should be a rule that says that, but I feel like they found some loophole to where it's like made from chicken, and so technically even though they 3D printed it, it's still chicken, so they don't have to disclose something. You know what I mean? But that's actually wild. It really is.
So I just want to give a special thank you to the Campbell's Soup whistleblower. So now we all know to definitely make sure we check our cans. I mean, the reality is I haven't really had Campbell's chicken noodle soup in a long time, because the chicken definitely stopped tasting like it did when we were kids. Like when we were kids, you knew it was real chicken. Now, you know, the texture was giving questionable, and I tend to try to read labels to see if stuff is GMO or bioengineered. Just because when I was in graduate school, you know, I had a professor that talked to us about Monsanto. And once I saw their video, I started checking things, which we should all be checking your packaging to see if it's genetically modified or bioengineered. But the reality is, I hope people stop buying it. And it's really sad that his comments were that this is for poor people. We make shit for poor people, which also goes to prove that this is their plan, y'all. They make the things for lower income people cheaper and put bullshit ingredients in it. And then if you want to eat healthy, we all know it's quite more expensive, which people that are on fixed incomes or low income cannot afford to do that. So they're going to eat whatever they can eat to have sustenance. Meanwhile, y'all are plying them with chemicals and fake meat, fake foods, bioengineered things, got the meat, like he said, out of a 3D printer. And then these people end up with all kinds of health concerns because of the food that they're eating. And then y'all want to make big pharma more expensive and healthcare expensive because you're actually feeding people bullshit to make them sick so pharmaceuticals can make money, and then you can raise our healthcare premiums. All while putting money back into the pockets of campBell's, the pharmacy companies, and the medical industry. Yeah. So how about we just stop buying campBell's? Because I know I won't ever buy it again. Even though I wasn't buying the chicken noodle soup, I won't buy any campBell's product at this point. If y'all want to act like it's for certain people and you want to go against a group of people that are doing the best that they can and just trying to eat healthy and try to provide their kids with food, and y'all want to just put cheaper products in it so you can make more money knowing that that's the detriment of people, well, then I just won't buy your products. I can boycott you like I can boycott anybody else. So campBell's, sorry to you, but hopefully everybody will stop purchasing your shit.
The Campbell's soup situation is a perfect example of how we have entered a new era of commerce. I don't think these companies understand just how powerful the individual consumer is now, especially with social media. And this is exactly why the younger generation is much more skeptical to buy from corporations and companies. There was a case study of how Chili's was able to make nearly 60% of its Q4, Q3 sales just off of one TikTok trend that a girl made. Now imagine the complete opposite effect of that if all of a sudden Campbell's soup sales drop 60%. One of the biggest nightmares for some of these corporations would be if Gen Z and the older generations actually started to organize, coordinate their attention, and even their purchasing decisions based on some companies' values. And there were multiple studies that came out that Gen Z and the younger generation now are starting to focus more on a company's inherent values, what's going on behind the scenes, and they're much more skeptical to purchase. The consumer is becoming much more aware of what's going on behind the scenes, and people just are tired of this shit.
I understand why they have to talk about it on the news, but who in the world thought that the CEO of Campbell's Soup, the owners, or anybody that worked for Campbell's Soup was feeding it to their kids? I don't feed it to my family. I mean, all you taste is salt, and the meat, damn sure, like he said, is printed meat. It don't even I'm trying to figure out who thought that. First of all, that is what these companies do. A lot of companies, when they make it, because I think he said something like the soup was made, Campbell's Soup is for poor people. But y'all do know a lot of these companies make clothes or certain things, and when they're making it, they're thinking about a certain set of people. I ain't gonna say people like us, because I'm not putting myself in that category. But either way, I never thought, I don't know who on this app though, but I never thought Campbell's Soup was making that a meal for their family. No. No, it's probably not even allowed in their house. They don't feed that to their family and to their kids. It's y'all feeding it to y'all family and y'all kids. But anyway, I guess that's the new conversation. Campbell's Soup CEO says he would never feed that garbage to his family. Okay.
To be honest, at this time, I'm honestly confused. Americans are acting like as if they are so very much surprised about this situation or after hearing this audio. I know it is surprising and shocking actually hearing such information from the owner of the company. Even if you had thoughts, even if you had skepticals in you, maybe am I really eating real meat? And then here comes the owner of the company or the vice president of the company comes out and actually says these same words. So it literally just confirms that what you've been eating, it has not been real meat. So I understand why they are in shock. But also when we go back to some of these teens, there is one of the creator that we watched in the videos that we have just watched. She came out and she said that when you go ahead and read on these cans, on these containers, it literally shows that these are 3D, processed meat. It is literally there. It is written. Just these people are shocked, are in panic right now because it's being said by the owner. But apart from the owner saying it, it has always been there on the cans, So literally right now, it just confirms that the Americans, what they have been eating all along, it's not real, real meat. And mind you, you guys are you've just confirmed with this company, with this, food company. How about other companies? Lately, we've been also watching videos from different creators also crashing out about McDonald's, that this is not real chicken. There are a bunch of companies, a bunch of restaurants that are literally not giving you guys real meat, and you guys are eating, I don't know, meat that comes from where, I don't know, maybe dogs, food, dogs, meat. You know, these companies really don't care about people. All they care about is making profits. They can even put for you beef that is, you know, food for dogs, and as long as you're buying it, and for them they are making their profits and their money. And mind you, the owners of these companies themselves, they will not eat that food. They will not eat it. They'll just keep quiet. Most of the times what they do, they just maybe reduce the price slightly, or even others just increase, because if they find out that they are having a high market, people are really interested in their food, they will not care. All they will care about is making money. You know, and you know that right now people are literally crashing out about this Campbell company and their food. And you know, there are some people who really don't care. They will still eat it. They still enjoy it. Like, they can't literally tell the difference with real meat and this processed beef. They can't tell, because this is what they have grown up eating, and they have no problem with it. You understand? So some people will be like, yes, even if it's a 3D beef, I really don't care, I still enjoy it. So people do have different tastes, and what you can't eat, another person can eat it. One man's meat is another man's poison. I'm not saying or defending this company. I'm not saying what they are doing is good, but also people, as people, I'm sure other people have read on that same container, and they read it literally. They know where the expiry date is. There are even people who eat expired food, like the can has the expiry date, and people just continue eating it, and they find out that the food is still good and they still eat it. So sometimes these companies, we shouldn't overblame them. For them, they give you the products and they tell you it's up to you to eat it or to leave it. I mean, how many companies are you guys going to boycott? I don't know. So literally, that is what I think about this whole situation, guys. Let me know what you think. What is your opinion down in the commentary? Just in case you've watched this video up to this far, I'm thinking you have enjoyed it. Yeah, just in case you haven't subscribed to the channel, I hope you do consider subscribing, and we shall meet again in another episode that I'll be uploading. Otherwise, have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.